Welcome everybody to the NWO show, your source for everything New World. This is breaking news coverage, brand new stuff that is released just now. We wanted to make sure to go live, cover the stuff right as it's happening, because this is, of course, big news. And like one of the things that McLeod and I have been able to say for the last 3 years is that the developers have been listening to what's being said, and they do actually give a shit. Like, that's something that we've been trying to convey, but it's very difficult to convey in a lot of ways. And of course, with all of the bugs and with everything else that they've been trying to dig out of, it's been difficult for them to turn around and take the time necessary to address some of the more painful experiences in the game and make them better. So this is actually a really solid set of changes. I'm, optimistic because, frankly, this is some good stuff. So let's dive right in. We're going to go and start with the main announcement here, and then we'll come back to the dev blog that was posted just a little bit ago. Both huge, big things, and a lot of information to cover. So let's dive right in. First and foremost, this is going to go to the PTR first, or public test realm, which is important. As everybody knows, New World has kind of been shooting from the hip and patching the game directly without using the PTR in most cases. This is kind of that opportunity for them to have the player base hit this, ensure that it gets the once over and that everybody's happy with what's going on, and that we get a better product that launches to the actual server instead of the amount of bugs that we've been seeing. So this will hopefully help catch some stuff before it hits the live server, hopefully stop any major issues, So public test realm, important thing here. We're going to skip over a decent amount of this, but the gist of it is right here. Servers will be officially open tomorrow, December 3rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So you can go and test a lot of this stuff, which is going to be big. Let's talk about the limited time content. Limited time content. This is not a new thing for MMOs. Basically, you have the holidays coming up. You kind of create holidays. You kind of create content around the holiday. Obviously, they've gone with kind of the Winter Wonderland type theme and the Winter Convergence Festival, as they call it. This has a number of aspects to it that are going to make things a little bit different. So let's read what they got. The holiday of the Winter Convergence has arrived in Eternum, marked by the appearance of increased snowfall and northern lights in the sky. Aurora Borealis. This is the time of duality and dichotomy as the Yeti, the Winter Wanderer, comes to the land. While the settlement's gifts are exchanged to mark the passing of the year outside the safety of the walls. Sorry.
It's all good.
I literally lost my spot. What most people don't know is that there's like a light right here that is just insanely bright.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, you can do it. Sorry, I completely whiffed you.
So while in the settlements, gifts are exchanged to mark the passing of the year. Outside the safety of the walls, there rages a wintry war between the positive forces of winter, which is slumber and perseverance, championed by the Winter Wanderer's positive side, and the negative forces of winter, which is death and stagnation, are championed by the Winter Wanderer's negative side. The players take on the cause of the Winter Wanderer to collect winter tokens from repeatable events across the island, able to turn them in to a holiday shop containing rare and cosmetic items. The Winter Wanderer's positive effect grows in power with each token collected and turned in.
Nice.
So I see. Yeah. you want to do the next bit? Or what?
Yes. So, icy winds and the winter wanderer bring with them new armors, weapons, furnishings, skins, consumables, and the delightful present gifting emote. All themed off the wonderful Eternum holiday of the Winter Convergence. The Winter Wanderer has set up 4 villages to facilitate the joy and cheer of the Winter Convergence. Visit these villages in Everfall, Monarch's Bluff, Weaver's Bend, and Brightwood to meet the Winter Wanderer and carry out his holiday quests. So, let's talk about what activities there are. I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so there's the Convergence Spirit, which is you basically celebrate the spirit of the season by giving a helping hand and decorating your favorite settlement. In order to do that, the Convergence Spirit is a special town project that allows players to complete special town project quests to upgrade each settlement. Each settlement's tree of light for improved daily rewards. Yeah. Second one is called
Present Recovery.
Yes.
Those dastardly frigid folk are spreading their mischief and stealing presents across Eternum. Located throughout the world are lost presents to be recovered and turned in for winter tokens at the winter villages' holiday huts.
This last one seems actually quite interesting. So it's a Gleamite collecting. So bright, glittering, gleaming Gleamite meteors of a multitude of colors fall from the night sky during this time of the year, as destructive as they are beautiful. So Gleamite showers are a new random dynamic event that occur at night throughout Eternum. Basically, keep your eyes and ears open as you search for locations where the showers are most prevalent. Exchange the harvested crystals for winter tokens at the Winter Village holiday huts. And obviously you take those to get interesting consumable, interesting armors, weapons, furnishings, skins, consumables, and stuff like that.
Awesome. All right. So we also have ice caves. So this will be additional content as well. Ice caves are appearing all over Eternum due to the Winter Warriors' desire for a forever winter. They are snowy and icy caves that the Yeti use their powers to freeze up and make snowfall. The rest of Eternum will look at these ice caves.
Yeah, so
interesting.
So I think it's a case of like if we. Right. It sort of does. Like, well, the rest of Eternum will look like these ice caves if the onslaught of the warrior is not stopped. So it kind of like it's if we don't stop the onslaught, then the rest of Eternum will start to look like that more and more and more.
Yep, these caves will remain behind after the event as scars on the land, sources of wintry magic that refuse to melt even if the warrior is defeated. So, likely something we'll see yearly, and possibly with different variants each year, and new kind of content built into it. That'll be good. So we got some new quests as well. In addition to new quest series offered by the Winter Wanderer for the Convergence Festival, there are also several new side story territory quests offered in Restless Shore and Morningdale. This update also introduces a new quest series associated with housing. After you've completed the main story quest, Encroaching Corruption, seek out Architect Giacomo Altaviti? Sure.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
I think I got that closer to what it is, but like I still probably slaughtered it.
Yeah. Basically, seek out that architect.
Yep. Further quests with him will be unlocked as you level up and progress your territory standing. Awesome. That's cool. New journal categories. New quest categories have been added to the journal for epic weapons and armor quests, and for the skill progression quests. This update is accompanied by new map pins for all quest types. Super. We're going to be able to better see where we're going and what we're aiming for. So I'm much appreciative of that.
I imagine the way that they said that is it's not just like, you know, every quest type has a pin, but they have different pins, like different looking pins. So that might be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, new features.
So this right here, and I'm gonna zoom in on this because this is actually quite important. Expertise and Gypsum system. So the first thing, and this should have been the first thing in this, to clarify this before it even is even said, this is massive changes to the high watermark system. To the point where they're literally calling it something else.
I mean, they're doing a name change. I'm not sure whether it's massive changes. It's definitely changes, and it's definitely kind of like it's definitely some degree of positive changes that you know, it's making things a tiny bit fairer for some people. I think maybe.
Well, I think it's making it so that, like, if you do other things and you go around and you're not just, you know, hitting the same thing over and over again, you can actually progress and guarantee progression by doing a variety of things. So you're not penalized for stepping away from farming the tentacle, or, you know, stepping away from farming, you know, the couple of bosses that are really good at raising your watermark. This to me sounds like a much nicer system. It also comes with a lot of perks to it that are just great things to have. And when we get to that, we'll explain. So, important thing to note as we go into this, the high water system from here forward is going to be referred to as expertise. That is an important factor for the rest of this conversation. Based on feedback on the high watermark system and our desire to have a compelling and diverse endgame, we've made some major changes to the endgame. We've added a new resource called Gypsum that can be acquired each day by doing a variety of activities: open world named bosses, expedition bosses, outpost rush, arenas, corrupted breaches, etc. Each activity rewards a different type of gypsum that can be crafted into a gypsum orb. These orbs can then be crafted into gypsum casts of any weapon, armor, or trinket type. Opening a gypsum cast will guarantee an expertise bump and gear of that type. Mm-hmm. This means that if you want to power level one specific thing through gathering this gypsum around the world, you can do that. You know,
I mean,
I want to build an axe every single time, and boom, 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 I can power level that as I go.
Yeah, because it says each activity rewards a different type of gypsum. Hopefully, it's not like, you know, you do an activity and it rewards a random gypsum. Like it rewards a specific gypsum type, and that gypsum sort of type can be crafted into the casts, and those casts, based on the gypsum type that you get from those various different things, determines which kind of area you're going in, like weapon type or armor type or trinket type or that kind of stuff, right? Hopefully you kind of do get to choose to some degree in that regard. Like I am going to say this now, that I still think that there's going to be a degree of randomization as to like what specific thing you get as a gypsum cast.
I think it's the type of gypsum is the thing that I question. Like, what's actually going to be the thing that it brings? Like, you know, what are the recipes for these casts?
Yeah.
So let's keep going, because that might be answered in the actual dev blog, and not just on the forum here. So, I'm gonna put these two links in chat, and McLeod, when people ask for them, they'll. So, as I stated earlier, they renamed the high watermark system to expertise, and now display the current expertise level of each slot on your avatar in the inventory, so players can easily track their progress. This means you no longer need to have a spreadsheet out of game where you're hoping that you know, as you were salvaging everything, that you kept track of what the high mark was on everything that you were removing. That's huge. Like
that's in terms of quality of life, just in with regards to like understanding where your watermark is. That's like that's pretty massive.
Yep, that is definitely big. So lastly, we've added 2 endgame POIs where players can challenge themselves with difficult content and try to progress their expertise with level 66 enemies and elite chests. Both Malevolence in Edengrove and the Imperial Palace North Dynasty Shrine have been leveled up to 66. This means there's yet more areas that you can go farm. And I think that's huge. Like, it's going to give more options and more variety, and hopefully some of them are even easier, or
it's also spreading it out a bit, so it's not just like, it's not just up in Murtgard kind of thing, right? We've now got sort of stuff in Edengrove and stuff in the Imperial Palace.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not,
now, there's an assumption that you're going to keep your current high water mark, and that's just going to be your expertise level by another name.
I imagine that probably will be.
I think it would be a very bad idea if that was not the case. Like, that would be a colossal mistake.
That would be like a sort of, hey, we've just given you some cool stuff, but let me take my glove off so I can really slap you across the face. Like,
Yep. So trade skill aptitude. Want to continue to reward the efforts you make to craft items for yourself, your friends, or to make a buck on the trading post. So we've introduced trade skill aptitude. Upon reaching level 200 in a trade skill, the leveling circle will update to show 3 markers equidistant from each other on the circle. Earning trade skill XP will begin progressing you again. And when you reach one of these markers, you will be awarded with a container of useful items that are mostly trade skill relevant, such as crafting mods, special ingredients, and even schematics and recipes. Each subsequent marker awards a more spectacular container with more rewards than the one before. So continually leveling these things past 200 is actually going to provide you some solid benefits, apparently. Gaining enough XP to go all the way around the circle will increment the aptitude counter by 1. This counter will keep counting so that you can keep track of how many times you've wrapped your progression around the top level. Basically prestige leveling so that you can, flex on people and be like, I've got 200 crafting, but I've also got an aptitude in it of, 950, which would just be bonkers.
That would be like, oh my god, dude, I think you need to sleep.
Yep. Yep. So, we've also introduced a new type of reward for this system, equipment patterns. Equipment patterns are crafting artifacts that enable you to craft a guaranteed gear score 600 item that has a specific appearance. Patterns require a specific amount of powerful crafting resources to create, but guarantee a gear score 600 item. Patterns still roll perks, and players have a normal amount of control over their outcome with craft mods and Azoth. Equipment patterns will have a small chance to drop Arcana, Weaponsmithing, Armoring, and Engineering attribute reward caches.
I need to say something. I need to say something about this, and it's kind of like they didn't say it in here in any way, shape, or form, and I'm concerned slightly that someone's going to be able to finally get to craft this one of these gear score 600 items from one of these patterns, and the resulting item is going to be bind on pickup.
And if really it is, hope I'm going to be really that's not.
And if it is, and if it is, I'm going to fucking flip out.
Yeah,
I really am. If that happens, I'm the first one on the forums and going like, what the fuck, AGS?
Every crafted item should be bind on equip. not bind on
Yes.
pickup. Every single one of them, zero exceptions. Even some of the ones for like generating runes and generating orbs. I honestly think orbs should be something you could sell. Like, should be stuff on the market. Make it stuff on the market. Reward people for running that content over and over and over again, collecting that stuff and selling it so that they can make more money and provide more people with more content. I.e., if I'm not going to run my orbs, why shouldn't I be able to sell them to somebody who is?
Yeah, because if I'm not going
for a large premium.
That's the other thing. It also promotes people to carry on playing the game as well. Like if they're going to carry on like grinding it, then they're in the game still. They're doing stuff in the game. They're doing activities, and it essentially can also be promoting to do activities with other people, rather than just kind of going, well, I can't be asked with like grinding any more orbs because I've got plenty enough already for myself, and I don't really need to. I can't do anything else with them except run them, and if I don't have enough people, or if I don't have anybody around to run them with, then there's no real point because I can't run them solo. So it's a case of like. It almost stifles like activity, to have them as bind on pickup.
Well, the other part of this is that like you have people like me. I just finished 200 stone cutting, which is a grind and a half, and it is painful.
Don't worry, you've got.
That
your
said,
prestige.
I can now make the prestige levels in it, but I can also make the rune stones for the last bits of the crafting for the high level orbs. So like those should be tradable and sellable because that is like the culmination of a shitload of material into this end required item and should be a thing that should be able to be sold. I'm actually kind of irked, and I know that it's on a cooldown, but that only makes it more valuable. So that's where I stand on that.
Sorry. I know that we got to that end, and then I decided to sort of say something that was a little bit kind of like I wouldn't say controversial, but like a little bit sort of negative in that kind of sense. But like honestly, they didn't actually specifically say it in what was said here, in what they've released. But it's just one of those things that like I'm there thinking to myself, please God, don't let it be a bind and equip item that you end up getting at the end of it.
Yes.
But anyway, let's move on to PvP balance changes.
Yep. All right. Mm-hmm. So we got 3 big ones, and I think these are all important. Due to an issue with our initial PvP damage formula that caused lower gear to be more beneficial in damage mitigation, we've updated our formula. We look forward to hearing your feedback on this update. By the way, what this is referencing to is that if you put on as a level 60 a tier 2 medium armor, you actually were mitigating more damage than most level 600 gear score items.
Oh God.
Whoopsies.
Well, I'm glad.
Anyways,
I'm glad they did the investigation and kind of realized, fuck, we fucked something up in the formula.
Yes, something was off, and it is being fixed. So, PvP damage formula update. We've adjusted the way armor mitigation is calculated to use an enemy's gear score value instead of your average gear score. So basically what was happening, to explain this to people, is that your gear score average was weighting that equipment way up and giving it a whole lot of bonuses by wearing one piece of 2-2 while still making the average be way up there. So, cheesy, yes.
All kinds
annoying, yes, but it's being fixed.
Stuff about this. Yeah.
To adjust for the difference in armor mitigation, we've increased the damage lower level players do to higher level players and reduced the damage the higher level players do to lower level players.
Yeah.
Being totally honest here, this is actually a problem as is. And I'm hoping that this equation helps actually balance the problem that's already there, because a 600 gear score person could easily dunk on just about anybody else.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even way back before before the game went live, like we were talking about how PvP scaling was kind of working and stuff, and there were a lot of people who were actually sort of there saying that the open beta kind of scaling was actually a little bit too much in terms of favoring the the higher level kind of player, and even the sort of like the one-to-one kind of scaling that we had in the was it the closed beta or the preview? I think it was the preview, was actually better. Like you still had you still had like higher level players being able to sort of beat vast swathes of low level players, because they had all the different types of perks, all the different mastery kind of stuffs, as well as like typically a lot more experience in terms of like using their weapons and shaping the battlefield with various different kind of abilities and that kind of stuff. So it was a case of even if lower level players did more damage to higher level players, comparatively, the other kind of stuff did actually sort of help out and actually sort of balance it out correctly. So I'm hopeful I'm hopeful, and I have kind of a positive kind of view on this change. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll see how it plays.
Absolutely. I think it's necessary. I think it's a good idea. I also think it's going to remove a lot of the cheese that's happening in Outpost Rush.
There's some combos. There's some specific combos from some specific weapons that are just insanely ridiculous.
Yes. So this next one, crit damage application. Critical damage bonuses from masteries or perks are now applied additively instead of multiplicatively. On average, this will reduce the extra damage they provide by a small percentage.
I think this is going to hit more of the...
This is going to pimp smack muskets. Like,
I think it might pimp smack muskets. I think it might also like bring down the insane damage that some, as we kind of just sort of commented on, the insane kind of damages that certain like combination of abilities can kind of deal. Yes. Because obviously if you're dealing with those are generally masteries that are kind of also triggered with various different abilities, and when you chain those abilities together, chances are those ability like perks are being multiplied against each other to produce ridiculous damage. So we might see that there's a bit of a curtailing, a bit of a reduction on the ridiculous sort of levels of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna bide time on moving to the next one, because apparently we just got hit with a mid-roll.
Okay.
Those that don't know, Twitch has made some changes to how ads work, but if you participate in the multiplayer ad poll, you can actually provide benefits to us.
It actually supports us to some degree.
Yeah.
And also, if you guys are, if you guys have
spam and answer. I know it's a ridiculous thing. I apologize that there's an ad, but it does actually go to help us, which is solid. So
yeah, it's pretty solid. The other thing is we also have the Tuesday sort of show. The pre-show and the main show is actually up on our YouTube as well. If you guys want to check that out if you haven't already.
Yes, and thank you guys for the 25 bits for that ad. I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, there's some strange changes to this. This is the first week that we've seen these kind of ads pop up. But
hopefully it's not too not too punitive on your experience, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bonus to us. Anyway,
so moving along, the last of the PvP changes is what's referred to as a buffer window. A general consistency pass has been done across all weapons to adjust the buffering windows for dodges, abilities, and basic attacks. This is actually a pretty solid change here, or a solid thing to do, because some of these buffering windows were a little bit longer than most and would give you a solid opportunity to get away from things, because they would either process too quickly or process over a long amount of time. The updated buffer window starts when the first frame of the attack that would deal damage, or on the first casting frame in the case of abilities that do not deal damage. So that's some.
Okay,
it's not as important as the rest of the stuff here, but that's going to be a good overall change. We are going to skip this next part because it's basically just PTR information. PTR starts tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. You should be able to start playing and seeing the content and testing the content to make sure that the game obviously gets better releases than it's had in the past. Which, hey, let's iron out as many bugs as we can possibly find, and hope that they don't make it into the end release, so that we can actually play the live game without having the just chokehold of bugs.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah. Now let's flip to the more detailed version of what we've been talking about.
Yes.
This is substantial. Like, it's a decent amount here. So this is going to cover, a lot of this is going to be the expertise system, which is the new high watermark system, which should make our lives a little bit easier in leveling our actual thing. So, December endgame update, based on feedback on the high watermark system. Almost all of it being negative. We're going to add that caveat in there. And our desire to have a compelling and diverse endgame, we're making some major updates in our December 1.2 patch. Our goal for the endgame is to provide a variety of activities that all provide compelling rewards and interesting challenges. In this article, I'll discuss 3 big changes we're making: improving our endgame gear progression, increasing rewards for some endgame activities, and tuning difficulty of endgame content. Super.
Okay. Interesting for that end bit.
So, expertise and Gypsum update. Since New World's launch, we've heard feedback from our community about the high watermark system. That the high watermark system was not communicated effectively. Promotes a single monotonous activity, had too much randomness, and was a bit too grindy. Okay,
oh, really?
You know what? If this doesn't tell you that they listen, I don't know what does. Because they hit all 3 of the major complaints. Boom, 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 knock them down. Yes, we heard you, this sucked. So, we're completely revamping the system to address these concerns. This new and improved high watermark system is called expertise. So, basically, when people say, you can now be one of those people that, if this turns out to be a good thing, you can be one of those people that turns back and says, I remember when, or back in my day, this used to be a high watermark system and we ground for days.
What fucking voice is that?
I don't know where that came from.
Put a mental note in that one, because that was extra special. You may want to use that at some other point. That was quite good.
Somebody clip that. That's a wonderful, like, turbo nerd, like, it was turbo nerd bitter vet voice right there.
Oh god. Anyway, let's moving on from your your voice acting prowess.
In the December update, expertise will govern the highest drops you can get per slot, much like high watermark system did before. But starting in early 2022, it will also govern the effectiveness of your gear. Interesting.
That is interesting.
If your Warhammer expertise is 520 and you equip a 550 gear score Warhammer, the weapon's effective gear score will be reduced to 520. Ooh.
See, this my concern is that this sort of what kind of concerns me a little bit about this is this kind of means that you have to get your expertise, or aka your high watermark, up to whichever level you want, and you can't you can't short circuit the system by having somebody build like say a 600 gear score item for you, or or something close to that sort of thing, and then giving it to you.
So here's the thing: you could, and then just grind up, and then it builds up your effectiveness on that weapon. So like let's say I make it to level 60, I buy a 600 gear score item. And I've got a 520 gear score or 520 expertise level. I can then grind that level on that thing with this system to make the most out of that piece of equipment. Maybe it's the most expensive piece of equipment
unless they're changing how how the role and how the sort of the role kind of applies to you, because as far as I know, and from how the high watermark system works, is it applies to you when an item of that kind of gear score drops. So if you're looking for a Warhammer, if your Warhammer expertise is 520, you want to get it to 550 or to 600, you have to grind it and grind it and grind it, so you get Warhammers that drop 520, 525, 530, 535. Like obviously this, you'd have a little bit more kind of, granularity in this anyway. But like, eventually you're going to get a 600 gear score Warhammer, and then that's when your high watermark is at 600. So you're still going to get a Warhammer that's going to be 600. But what this means is like, the person who creates the Warhammer, the 600 gear score Warhammer for you when you're at 520, there's no real point of him making it, because it's going to be as effective as a 520 Warhammer, and by the time you're at 600, you're going to have a drop of a Warhammer that's at 600 anyway.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I guess the only difference is you're going to have a little bit of a kind of like a choice as to what the perks are going to be based on if somebody actually creates it. Mm-hmm. But I think
the combination of that, you mix that with the cask system, with the expertise, or not the expertise, the crafting changes. I think that's going to help.
I hope so, because at the moment it kind of sounds like it's a little bit redundant. Yeah. But anyway,
so let's keep going.
It's just something that I thought was interesting to note.
While we understand some players this will result in a temporary reduction in power, we believe that in the long run this result in a more rewarding progression loop that can't be bypassed by buying gear off the trading post.
True, but it also negates.
Basically, it's to be the best, you got to grind for it.
I mean, it does make a bit of sense. I kind of feel like it should be like so if I was doing this, if I was going to make a suggestion to AGS, it would be kind of go halfway. So if you buy a sort of a 600 gear score thing from the trading post, right, and you've only just made it to level 60, so you're at gear score 500, it should bump it up to 5. It should go halfway, so it should go to like 550, right? It lowers the effectiveness. It also improves what you have at the moment, right? And then as you progress, it always goes to a halfway house. Mm-hmm. because then it provides an incentive and a bit of a reason for crafters to make stuff, but it also incentivizes people to actually grind and increase their their expertise, because that it also increases their their capacity and the effectiveness of the weapon.
Yes. Now, my hope here is there's no way they're gonna reset people's
no, they're not going to reset.
That's not going to happen.
No.
They're just taking the numbers that exist and shifting it over to a new system that has other benefits. Guys. There's other stuff here.
Yeah.
A major
your progress will stay.
Yeah. So like the other side of this is I'm hoping that like the attribute points that a player gains from the equipment doesn't scale down with the level, because that would actually be kind of annoying. Like that would provide a benefit still to buying a 600 gear score item and then coming back to grind that up to that level, and still maintaining its value to lower leveled players. That could be a thing. That could be some feedback that I would give them. So something of interesting note here, and this is shown on the side. A major improvement provided by expertise is that the player's expertise per slot is displayed on the inventory screen, as well as the average expertise of all equipped gear. Additionally, each time a player gets an expertise bump, a level up banner will appear showing their new expertise level. Note that the expertise system unlocks at level 60, so this information will not be shown until then.
Okay.
That's actually for most people, this is a pain in the ass. Like, let's be real with this. This has been kind of a pain in the ass because you had to, as you were farming stuff, you had to put it into a spreadsheet and, this dropped. Is this higher or lower than what I had before? Compare it to the spreadsheet, bring it back. Is it not? You'd accidentally salvage shit before you put it into your spreadsheet, and you wouldn't know that your watermark was actually higher than it was, and I can finally burn that spreadsheet. Thank God.
Yay. Just straight up delete.
Yes. Very, very much happy for that. So, second major improvement we made along the way for players to control their gear progression.
One of the things
achieve this what?
One of the just from Von Brick, just saying like he's saying like that most of the gatherers and crafters that he has in his company, they generally sort of putting a lot of time and a lot of effort in actually like grinding their progression all the way up to the top. Their not their expertise, but their their various different crafting professions up to max, and also gathering all the things that they need. They don't have really the time to be able to grind their watermarks as well, and that was kind of one of the reasons why crafting those gear score stuff was worthwhile for them. So it's a bit of
interesting to see how that plays out.
It's a bit of a slap across the face for them, which kind of sucks.
And it's still going to be important. So like crafting gear is still going to be important because you're able to pick the perks. Like that is actually pretty vital to getting like high level crafted gear. Being able to pick the perk that you get is stupid important.
Hey, you're not wrong there.
Yeah, like it is in my opinion a little bit of a nerf to crafting, but at the same time, crafting is also the fastest way to get something with the specific stat you're looking for. As somebody who's been looking for a ruinous musket for a while, I can tell you that they don't fall off the
Oh yeah, no, dude, I've been looking at those for a long time. They just don't. Yeah. It's like they don't exist.
Yeah, they're painful to find, and you really have to just craft them because they don't drop out of nowhere. So like there is still a benefit to crafting. So let's talk about Gypsum. So they're adding a way for players to control their gear progression. To achieve this, we've introduced Gypsum. Gypsum is a new resource that is found by doing a variety of activities. Gypsum can be crafted into gypsum orbs. Which they got a thing with orbs.
It's always orbs.
It's always orbs.
This orb, that.
Why is it not cubes? Like
they like spheres, man. They like
right? Like why is it always circles? They got
like,
circles all over the place. Like the theme is circles.
Like every single, I think every single desk in AGS has like one of those little like world like things that just spin around. Have you seen one of them before? Yeah, they probably have one of those.
All right, so gypsum can be crafted into gypsum orbs, which then can be turned into special caches called gypsum casts. Gypsum casts are gear type specific, and when opened, guarantee an expertise bump for that type of gear, as well as an item of that type. So basically what this means is there's a lot less random going on. Like, oh, I don't need, like once you farm one of them all the way up, I no longer need to farm that cast. I now need to farm the other ones, you know, and get them to 600. And I'm no longer wasting random rolls at, you know, boss X or whatever, or the tentacle or whatever. Like, you know, instead, I'm focusing building towards a specific goal where I can get my weapon to 600, or I can get my helmet or my chest piece to 600. That I think is actually pretty good. I think that's.
Do you think when they say type? Do you think when they refer to type, do you think that they specifically mean like, you know, like down to the specific weapon, like, you know?
I hope so. It should be. If it's not, we need to have that discussion.
Yeah,
like, like that right there is feedback of like, if you're going to do this all the way down to the type, that better mean if I have the option, I should be able to pick, I want a great axe, or I want a fire staff, or I want a X item of that class. Like, I don't want to be like, I want it to be a weapon, or I want it to be armor. No. None of that.
No, that's going to be really aggravating for people.
Yeah, I'm assuming because this is designed to be a way for players to control their gear progression. I'm assuming that it's going to be granular down to, hey, it's going to be it's going to be a thing.
I really do hope so. Like, obviously, when this goes to the public test realm, like that is something.
Okay, see, this gets answered.
Double check.
This literally gets answered in the next sentence.
Okay. All right.
So, if you really want to increase your bow expertise, you can craft a gypsum bow cast. So yes, it goes all the way down to the weapon. This is what I get for not reading. Players can earn gypsum by doing 7 different endgame activities. Obsidian Gypsum, defeating level 60 plus open world named bosses, typically found in elite landmarks. Sapphire Gypsum, defeating the final boss of the Lazarus Instrumentality and Garden of Genesis. Ruby Gypsum, found in Outpost Rush caches. Emerald Gypsum, found in Trading Post Attribute Reward containers.
Interesting.
Which actually gives a bonus to crafting, if you think about that. I.e., by crafting, this actually answers what one of the problems was. By crafting, you're going to be able to earn gypsum. So through the reward containers from crafting items, in order to
hopefully you might be able to
advance.
Well, hopefully hopefully that might be sellable as well. If that's sellable in some way, shape, or form, or in some point of that stage, that could be very useful for crafters as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry.
So I think that's really, really cool. Citron Gypsum found in arena caches. That's content that most people have completely ignored. So that'll hopefully bring some people to doing that. Amethyst Gypsum, found in breach caches. So running around doing breaches is going to be valuable as well. They're adding some value to that. Topaz gypsum found on hostile creatures above 55, but only after consuming a special attunement potion that can be crafted at a tier 5 camp. Interesting. So basically, go farm level 55 plus, and you can, grab this all you want. So, we believe that providing different ways of collecting gypsum will allow players to play a variety of content, while also finding at least a few activities they love to progress their gear score. Engaging in these activities for 30 to 60 minutes a day will earn players enough gypsum of that type to craft a gypsum orb, except for Topaz, since the attunement potion can only be crafted once a week. God fuck. Come on. Stop time gating stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
Stop it. Naughty. No. If any of them are in the thing, stop that.
You're about to get a little bit more angry. After players have earned sufficient gypsum for an orb, they won't earn more for 23 hours.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Why? Just let them play and grind their gear score. Like this is the feedback. Just ungate this.
So
stop this. This does not need to be a thing.
I think one of these things. I think one of the reasons why these things, so one of the things that that was in the game, that or still is in the game, but isn't really sort of something that is functional to in any particular way, shape, or form after you hit level 60, is, for example, the rested XP bonus. Right? There is no rested XP bonus after level 60. It doesn't exist. You log out for as many days as you want. When you come back, there's no rested XP bonus to give you additional XP because you've been away from the game and dealing with real life, to bonus you for when you actually go and start playing again, kind of thing. It doesn't exist after level 60. I'm thinking maybe these kind of things, these like cooldown period sort of things, are kind of meant to be their sort of version of rested XP in some way, shape, or form. So people who are like ultra grindy can't just grind the crap out of this sort of expertise system way faster than somebody who actually has like commitments in their life. That's my thought anyway. Whether it works effectively and doesn't piss people off, I don't know. I would say probably not, considering that you just got really pissed off about it as soon as you heard it.
Stop time gating shit. Just stop. Like, if I have a day off, if I have a day off of work and I want to play the game, just let me play the game. Yeah. Don't limit what I can do in that 24 hours. That's the annoying part. There's that. We need to start the feedback now on that. No time gates. Stop that. This does not need to be a daily thing. I already have the pain in the ass of Runestone's 24-hour thing, which 24. Okay, let me dive into this. Somebody can clip this shit because this gets really annoying. 24-hour fucking time-gated crafting. All right, so let's say I set an alarm, do it exactly on time every time. I'm still falling behind every day very slowly. Eventually, I've got to be up at 4 in the fucking morning to take advantage of my daily crafting so that it min-maxed all the way over. Or I sleep it off and reset it for the middle of the day, which then I need to slowly incrementally move it through the afternoon, as I do it every 24 hours for the next 6 months. Annoying. Even EVE Online figured this shit out. And they're completely inept. Like, they're asleep at the wheel. Even their jump clone system used to be 24 hours until you could do anything. I think it's down to 16 hours. You have to train some skills to down the hours but you could get it as low as 16. That's the kind of thing that people care about, because it's, hey, 16 hours, it's going to be 16 hours until I play again, because I've got to go to sleep, then I got to go to work, and then I'm going to get back on, and then I'm going to have plenty of time to do it.
Yeah, that is also very, very you make a really good point there, actually, because it's one of those things that, you know, not everyone can be at doing this every, like at exactly that 24-hour like period where it comes back around. You know, having that like additional few hours, of sort of buffer to when you kind of do it, it's a quality of life feature. It is very much a quality of life feature.
Yes. Like
no 24-hour stuff. Like reduce it down to reducing it down to 16 at least gives people a little bit more kind of like play.
Reduce it down to 12, because then 99% of people aren't going to play every 12 hours. You're going to go to bed, you're going to do something else, you're going to walk the dog, you're going to do all these things, and then you're going to go, oh yeah, hey, I'm going to go game. It's going to take you 12 hours to get back to it. That way you're not constantly sitting there going, I have to hit this at the right time, otherwise, I'm screwed. It's also like, I don't like that they've time-gated orbs. I don't like that they've made them not sellable to people. Like, just let the players play the game. Stop time-gating stuff. Like, this isn't Warframe. Like, that's my moment of non-zen.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. They won't earn any more, blah, blah, blah. Once per day. Opening a Gypsum cast will guarantee an expertise bump and reward players with a random piece of gear of that type with a gear score equal to the new expertise level. Awesome. We've introduced a new kiln crafting station in all endgame zones that allow players to craft gypsum orbs and various gypsum casts. Why wasn't this just added to settlements? There's plenty of places to put them. And this would definitely be something that would fit. This would definitely be something that would fit. There's not like there's a lack of space in settlements for this.
I think they want more reasons for people to be in certain places or up in certain areas. I don't know.
Apologies, the bot can be a little aggressive.
I do want to note that I was kind of like I was wondering about this and just double checking. The whole gypsum kind of side of this thing is an addition to what we're currently doing. So the whole way of increasing your gear score, going forward, your expertise, doing various different things, you do still have that that roll chance of having gear drop that increases your expertise. The gypsum stuff is just additional on top of that, just so everybody is aware.
Yes, but as they continue on here, note that we've tuned down the general chances of getting an expertise bump to compensate for the guaranteed bumps that are added with gypsum.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh. You created just leave the system there. just leave Brittany alone. For God's sake. Listen, the old system sucked as is. Why are you adding more system to the old grind? Stop it.
You initially said you literally initially said we understand that the gear score system was a bit too grindy. It's almost like that exhibit kind of meme. We heard you like grinding, so I added more grinding to your grinding, kind of thing. Right?
Is there seriously a mid-roll ad?
Ay.
Oh, fuck Twitch. Jesus. Killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
But
apologies, that's Twitch for you.
Yeah. But you should be able to see us. You should be able to still see and hear us over on the top right hand side or whatever it is.
Theoretically, you guys can hear us, right?
Yeah, he says no big deal. No big deal.
All right.
It's all good.
Apologies for Twitch being Twitch. Like you could you know, obviously you can't see my hands, but like I am not touching the keyboard. Like I didn't even know an ad was rolling, so like I have the ability to hit an ad, but like we don't, because yeah. Apologies.
You can see Ace's rant, but not hearing. Hey, just, you know, he's expressing himself in, you know, the classic Italian way with his arms.
So,
right.
Okay, listen. We need to have a heart-to-heart in some serious feedback here. Stop time gating shit. Stop making shit more difficult. Stop it.
Stop
Especially if you're going to add shit after level 200s. Stop making it more difficult. Like,
oh god. Right.
Also, because you got people out there who are like, oh great, like, yeah, you got one chance at a guaranteed upgrade. Like, how much of an upgrade is it? Because if it's like 50 points, then okay, maybe that discussion's moot. But if it's like 5 fucking, you know, 5 more towards, you know, the 600, you know, between 500 and 600, you got 100 points to go. And if it bumps it up by 5, we need to have a discussion. Like, if it's a 24-hour cooldown for 5 points, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Oh, I feel you're gonna lose your shit.
Like,
but you know, that's where the forums are. That's where the forums for the PTR. You know, that's where you bring your rage to
consistent, clear feedback. And like, I'm honest to God, I'm gonna write up my feedback after this, and I'm just straight up gonna send it to the dev team, because
but even before you try it,
unsolicited email is just gonna be sent here. Like,
what I've just read concerns me.
Yes,
just, that'll be the
you have both
sentence.
Hit the nail on the head and hit your hand in the process. Like,
stop putting your head between the hammer and the nail. Like, just why would you do this?
Just because it's a double-barreled shotgun doesn't mean the first one has to go off into your foot. Like, come on.
I'm just checking to see whether the chamber's clear, alright?
Oh, God.
Right, reward improvements. If it can be called improvements, I don't know. Let's see what they have.
Alright, so, did we get through that last thing, though?
Yeah, you said now that
Elite chest odds were reduced a little, but open world named enemies were reduced by a motherfucker. God, come on!
Hang on.
But we've increased
the amount.
up the amount your expertise increases, which each bump to make Gypsum cast and the random bumps feel more valuable. So when you do get a bump, it's more than what it is.
I mean, it's going to be
to be fair. Like, I've had things bumped by 1 before. So, like, is it gonna be 2? Is it gonna be 10?
Oh no, like, it'll be a multiplier on it, and the multiplier will bump it to a certain point, like, and then the rounding kind of mathematics will come in and just like bump it back down.
Let me pull up my spreadsheet here.
Oh, did you chart how it increased as well?
So there are 21 gear score items, which means there is 2,100 points that you need to raise.
Oh God!
Right? I did my math right on that.
Yeah, no,
100 points
right,
apiece. Yeah. 2,100 points that you need to go up across the board to have all 600 as your expertise scores. You know. And I mean, most people are only going to care about like 10 things because they're going to have their 2 weapons and they're going to have their weapon sets. So like, the 5 things for armor, the 3 trinkets, and
then
2 weapons.
2, maybe 3 weapons.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 weapons. Yeah.
Which, okay, fine. So you've got 1,300 points that you need to raise.
Yeah.
It better not be a pain in the ass. Like, please, I know we haven't seen the system yet, but like, I'm already sitting here looking at them going, you need to nerf these other things. It's like, stop that.
Yeah.
Just have that be something that's like, hey, after the PTR, we noticed that people were excelling through the system way too quickly, and we've reduced the random drop, blah, blah, blah. Like, do that after the fact, where it's like, hey, we learned from this, and we're taking feedback and all that. Fine. But like, yeah, just let's move on to reward improvements before I like blow my shit.
Well, you see, the thing
I both love and am incredibly concerned by this update, because like, it has potential to be great, but like, this Gypsum cast better be like 40 points or like 25 points to 30 points for the bump.
I mean,
game's not dead. It's got 160,000 people playing. Lay off. Like, it's been out for 2 months. Like, really? No, I'm gonna play SmackDown at the moment here. Game's not dead. You keep saying in chat, I'm gonna ban you. Just because you're stupid. I'll be that guy.
Yeah.
No, you're the bringer of stupidity. Game on. Got 160,000 people that disagree with you.
So the thing is with the Gypsum kind of like addition to that, and like the changes and the sort of like the various different kind of like balance that they wanted to sort of do with the various different things, built around it and that kind of stuff. They did say, that their feedback that they got from the player base was that that it was too monotonous, too grindy, and that kind of thing. And if they've just basically replaced it with being a little bit more convoluted, but still really ridiculously grindy and monotonous, then they haven't really they haven't achieved what they wanted to achieve, right?
Exactly.
So in that kind of sense, you can legitimately go, look, you identified a problem correctly, but the fixes or the things that you've implemented, the way that you've implemented them at this particular point in time is not fixing the problem. How about you adjust this and that to be a little bit more, welcoming, a little bit more sort of rewarding to players, and they might feel like it's a little bit, less grindy and a little bit more rewarding,
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Exactly. So,
anyway,
apologies
let's get on to the
for those that don't know. I'm having quite the week. Not just covering this, but like, there's some other stuff. I'm happy that people are happy that we're taking some stronger stances, and like, I'm having fun with this. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited about this because like, this could go in a really bright direction, but like, this could also go in a really bad direction. And yeah, I'm also really tired of a lot of the stupid crap that keeps coming up, and like,
because it's not actually it's not critical thinking. It's just repeating the same dumb fucking line that other people have said, like that someone may have said like 3-4 weeks ago, where the situation in New World may have felt a little bit more dire, but doesn't really translate to now.
Exactly.
So
it is still the 5th most played game currently on Steam. In terms of people connected to Steam at the moment, the 5th most played game. It was up at number 3 earlier today at 130,000 people playing. So, like, I'm just tired of hearing people parrot bullshit. yes, the player count is dropping. Here's the difference. They don't have to pay to come back.
Exactly.
When things are fixed, they'll come back. Are all of them going to come back? No one's delusional in thinking we're going to be back up at 900k anytime soon. But when content starts rolling out, they're going to come back.
Anyway, reward improvements. To ensure that our in-game activities provide compelling rewards for the effort and the risk involved, we reviewed them and made some adjustments. We will continue to audit our rewards for each activity and make further adjustments as necessary. For this round, we've focused on expeditions. Our goal is that expeditions are a super rewarding experience since they require a time investment to craft an orb. Thank God they recognize that and our challenging content. We've made 4 adjustments to make them more rewarding. Each expedition boss will guarantee a random expertise bump. We fixed all chests in Lazarus Instrumentality and Garden of Genesis so that they have a chance to provide endgame expertise bumps. We've added item shards as a guaranteed drop for expedition bosses and as a chance drop from elite chests. And 4, we've added guaranteed sapphire gypsum drops for each expedition boss.
Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that each boss, so 2 bosses minimum.
Bosses. Yeah.
So that's 2 bumps per at minimum, with the additional all chests in Lazarus and Garden of Genesis. I can't remember how many chests are in there. Have a chance to provide endgame bumps.
That's good because they were broken. They weren't actually providing any kind of high watermark increase. So they've fixed that. The interesting one is adding item shards as a guaranteed drop, not just for expedition bosses, but for a chance to drop from elite chests. And they didn't specify elite chests inside of expeditions. They've just said elite chests. So we can only assume that they mean elite chests in the world as well, in the open world.
I'm gonna say that's probably in theory because the whole paragraph's predicated around focusing on expeditions. But
yeah,
that'll be an interesting thing to see if that spills over to in-world, because that would actually be pretty solid.
That would be a pretty solid thing. And if it doesn't, then make a mental note here, AGS, that if it was item shards as a chance drop in elite chests in the open world, that would be really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those that don't know, item shards are a new crafting ingredient that enables players to craft an item with a specific attribute bonus on it, while still being able to use a craft mod to guarantee a perk. Item shards are guaranteed to drop from expedition bosses and have a chance to drop from elite chests in expeditions and elite non-marks. There you go.
Ah, there you go.
So it is both.
Yes.
That's nice. Solid. See, this is why we just need to keep reading. Like,
yeah.
The problem is as we read, like, there's stuff that's alarming, and it's like,
and we alarm and go, ah, and then we read the next one and we go, oh, okay, thank God, and then we're like, oh God.
Again, I've said this a number of times, but I am a combination of very happy for this update, but also very skeptical, and like I will be writing up my feedback for this because this is. They will probably get it before the PTR even launches. And they'll probably turn around and be like, why are we getting this before you even tested it? And it's like, because I'm afraid.
I know what I'm going to be hearing as soon as this finishes. It's just going to be furious typing.
So, as we've discussed, we've added Gypsum to a variety of endgame activities. This should make all those activities more rewarding since they will result in gear progression and one guaranteed good drop from opening a Gypsum cast. We felt that War and Invasions were already rewarding enough due to their limited availability. Wanted to be careful about making them even more rewarding. Arena bosses also guarantee an additional random expertise bump, which along with the Citrian Gypsum hopefully make them rewarding activities now, i.e. nobody was running them because they didn't really do anything. Yes, we did get our Harvester gear back today as well. Or at least I got mine. It's going to take, like, if you read the update on the forums, it's going to take a little bit for every server to get them. But they are running that. Me, I only had T4 equipment before, and I got a full T4 set that I've been using to get to my level 200 harvesting, because that's one of the last ones that I'm trying to burn up to.
Yep.
And then I get to start working on the trade skills.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, difficulty adjustments. We've made several adjustments to endgame difficulty to compensate for some accidental overtuning we did in the November patch. We improperly set several enemies to a difficulty level above what we intended. With these changes, we hope to find a middle ground between the too easy endgame content that we had pre-November and the overtuned HP sponges we had afterwards. The upcoming December release notes will provide more specifics on those ranges. Remember, level 66 elite landmarks are supposed to be really hard, requiring very optimized gear and consumables. With the changes to expertise, players can progress their gear in a variety of ways before venturing into those endgame areas. We've also modified 2 other elite landmarks to become endgame POIs. The Malevolence Elite POI in Eden Grove was leveled up to 66 content and now has 6 elite chests that can all provide endgame expertise bumps. Color me intrigued.
Nice.
And the Imperial Palace and North Dynasty Shrine elite landmarks in Ebonscale Reach were also leveled up to 66 and have 8 elite chests were added, which all of those have the bonus as well.
Yep.
We can assume that they're not going to preference one over the other. Those are both things that you're now going to go get a group, run both of these, run here, run there, go up there, your chest runs now just got expanded to more areas and more opportunities, which, okay, I appreciate that.
That makes sense. Because one of the other things that people were complaining about was the fact that because the amount of areas were very limited, you'd get scores of groups trying to go in there and do them at the same time, and it would fuck everything up.
Yeah.
So now
the Imperial Palace area is also huge.
In various different areas. Yeah, that's also very true.
So that's going to take some doing to get around there. So now there will be an endgame open world area in each of the endgame territories: Ebonscale Reach, Shattered Mountain, Eden Grove, and Reekwater. Okay. That's
very nice.
I appreciate that change.
Yep.
Conclusion. We're sorry that the endgame experience was not on par with the start of the game, and we hope that these changes start to remedy that. We're not done yet, and we will continue to refine, improve, and add to our game over time. But hopefully these changes create a better foundation to build off of. Everything other than the expertise effectiveness on gear will be released early 2022.
Okay.
Will be available tomorrow to try out on our PTR. So there's 2 things going on here. So in the short term, we're going to get a winter update that has the winter content and, happy fun times. And then in 2022, we're going to be getting these new changes. But first, they appear to be taking an actual time frame here, like most if not all of December, because they're not doing it until 2022. They're going to take the time to do this and get the feedback, collect the feedback, and do it right, which means everybody and their mother needs to turn around and say, stop time gating shit on the forums. In a politer way. Please don't time gate stuff. I have other things to do and don't want to reset my clock every
give them reasons, give them understandable reasons, give them reasons that are based in reality. You guys have you guys have responsibilities out there, you guys have things to do out in the real world. If you don't, pretend that you do. It helps. It does help. But just let them know why time gated stuff, the way that it's time gated right now, is bad just in general. But give them understandable and realistic reasons why.
Yes. So that's the 2 bits of information we have. It's obviously been a decently long stream. I don't even have my dashboard up. It's been almost an hour and a half. So simply put, we love the opportunity to chat with you guys. We love that you guys chose to hang out with us tonight. Help us, help you, help everyone. Make sure to hit that follow button. It really does actually help us, and of course it helps you know when we're going live next. So if you leave the alerts on, it'll let you know. Or you can join the Discord, and we ping the Discord to let people know what's going on. We are trying to do more of the breaking news type coverage and stuff like that, aside from our Tuesday night shows, which are more of a guided experience once we get into the show, which we have about an hour of a pre-show, which is more of like, chilling, relaxing, chatting with people about various things. We have been slowly in the background working on a altogether new show, which we'll be talking about probably more in the new year. I don't see us launching it quite yet. There's a lot of work that's got to go into it, and I'll be pretty excited to see that when it does eventually convalesce. So simply put, I want to thank our Patreons, our supporters, our subscribers, our followers, all of you guys watching, all of the people that are going to join us on YouTube, because our YouTube is being built up, and everyone else.
I'll put this up on the VOD on YouTube as well, so look out for that. If you want to do a recap, or if you want to pass that out to people who definitely.
So as we always love to say, we'll see you guys in the new world.